Greetings, warriors. I am your host, Jay Voodoo Child, and this is Total War Troy on Steam. Yes, I've actually migrated over from my free Epic version with a free Amazon DLC, and this past Steam winter sale, I picked up the entire package for $40.
So it has come to this. Good men, torn from their kin, to rage and spill the blood of other men's foes. But we will not be forgotten. Our deeds shall be known, even when our bones are dust scattered on the wind. And our names will inspire the mighty to rise.
And that was the official trailer. Certainly exciting and builds anticipation for playing the game and getting involved with the major characters of Achilles and Hector. However, the setting, the scene, just doesn't make sense to me with the high walls of Troy, archers on top, but they're completely useless because your melee troops are already engaged in front of the gates. Also, you've got, your heavy infantry sitting in reserves, I guess, still outside the gate, but just kind of hanging out and waiting for your first waves to get wiped out so you can get engaged and deal with tired troops in front of, massive army from the Greeks. So this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Also, the commander's not already out there in the field. So it is what it is. But again, that was the trailer, and I'll timestamp to now and talk about the game itself. As I mentioned up front, I've just recently, like 3 weeks ago, got on the Steam Winter event, the full version with all the DLCs and faction packs. I purchased them on Steam for $40 US. And so I'm playing with the new stuff and playing nothing but Mythos Campaign. And trying to, understand those factions. And as you can see here, I started off with Argos because it seemed like the most appealing to me of the initial set. Once I got involved with them, it's just not a good fit for me. The faction mechanics pretty much require you to constantly be at war with somebody and advancing, and that doesn't mix well with the mythos and doing your expedition force and then having that combined later on for whatever reason, wherever your main army is at. But also, I kind of want to have this Total War campaign where I'm kind of a real leader, in that I'm trying to protect my homeland, but expand it and deal with the circumstances of the Total War kind of mindset, and not just build up a super stack, go off invading and conquering lands and just leaving everything behind me as pretty much unprotected. So I kind of want to have a system where I do have defensive forces and offensive forces doing different things. And so I think I've found that with Thrace. And I will kind of go into that, but let's head back here and look at Argos.
Duty, courage, victory.
But the faction mechanic of dominance, the payoff is getting 25% factor in diplomacy, which is nice. And in the early game, I was able to pick up like 3 or 4 territories by trading out that dominance with the I forget their names, but after that it just pretty much was only good to trade for resources, which at that point I had kind of all the resources I was looking for with my normal buildup. But again, I kind of expanded beyond my means of protecting my own territory, and just it didn't feel right. And between the Mythos expedition and getting those special units, and also building up the Paragon units here, which I was intending to use as like a reserve pop-up army. So I've got someone kind of invading me from an unexpected source. I could, lay down a general, throw on the specialized Paragon units that have instant deployment, and then have a force ready to defend my land. But it just was too slow in developing, and I got bogged down with my other things. If you watch my Spartan campaign, I spend a great deal of the early game setting up agents to be max level at recruitment, and that requires 3 cities with specialized temples to certain gods, and to pull it all off. And once you have those super agents, the rest of the game becomes pretty much a cakewalk, particularly with the spies that you can go in, get 150 gold income, knock out the garrisons by 90%, and then just deal with whatever's the leftovers, or if there's a standing army there. But even a full stack, if you're dealing with their last territory, you're a straight up fight in which you have your specialized units and they have whatever they have. You're going to tend to win those battles. So even at the most difficult situations, instead of dealing with 2 full stacks with, a fortress level defenses and whatnot, those spies are just nasty, and is 100% going to happen with the stats as they stack up. And with the Thracians, you don't have any agents at all. You also have, let's just go over there, take a look at them. Oh, no.
I will lead. Ever strong in defense.
The mighty king of
So
Thrace.
you can summon unique host armies from your forest regions. You need to conquer more forest regions to gain access to more host armies. And you've got 4, like here, 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 and the one you start off with. And those host armies are cheap income, or costs, and upkeep. They have no bronze upkeep, but they do not account versus your strength overall, which is kind of interesting. But you could have a full stack sitting in defense of that province, and it has the happiness modifiers. It can deal with rebellions. It can hop over to a border and do raiding. And so it's a very interesting unit and something I plan to use kind of defensively. They have a low cost and upkeep, can be used as, for special tasks. Host armies cannot reinforce other armies or occupy settlements, so they're purely defensive. Host armies are not counted towards your administration burden. And then you have your Thracian rituals. You do not have access to spy, envoy, or priestess agents. You can perform Thracian rituals, which will provide you with different benefits. You accumulate a devotion resource, which is important for some Thracian rituals and host armies, and perform unique rituals to gain some of the best Thracian units. So those three are listed right here. They require a special building in which you can recruit them. Also, something interesting about the Thracians is there are no militia. Your base buildings with cities or the resource regions do not have any recruitable units. And that's something very different because, as you may have seen with my Spartan campaign, I have very specialized units, but I always have at least 4 militia units that are just purely fodder. I send them up front, they get slaughtered, but wherever I conquer, I know always I can recruit those, get 3 recruitments. So, whatever is left over, throw them into one unit and then recruit 3 more. And so I'm not able to do that with this faction. So again, it's going to be a different kind of play style, different kind of approach, but that I find intriguing, and that is kind of also the challenge of how I'm going to take my normal gameplay and make this faction work for me with all of its differences. Also, the Thracians are heavy on chariots, which I do not really care for. They're very hard to use, and also this one, that whip thing, is basically you get to damage yourself for some extra speed and charge bonus, I believe. That's not an ability I want to use ever. And so, in chariots, they get torn up anyway. So I don't know why I would really want to use that, but yeah, it's in a historical game, they are important because they are the only cavalry available. But in any of the 2 fantasy modes, you do have centaurs, which are available. You've got a region or a province here with them. Also, let me see, right here is another one. But these are potential allies, so I'm not going to go invade them to get access to their centaurs. But as you see, I play normal. I play straight vanilla, no mods whatsoever, and general factions are enhancements are happiness +4, +5 charge, and 3% replenishment. And we do not have access to the warlords, so no more mentors. But I don't have agents, so that's less important. And I do like the archers. So let's rule Thrace.
Are we mere playthings of the gods? Or do we plead divine influence to justify our foolish choices?
He's taken her! He's taken my wife!
You've risked the safety of Troy.
Troy is my home now.
You have my oath, brother. She will be returned to you.
Brother, I can fight.
Go. Seek shelter. There'll be plenty of fighting ahead.
The wrath of Achaea will descend upon Troy. Paris acted in love, but he has incited war. Whether the walls of Ilios will endure, only the gods can tell.
Rhesus, son of storied Thracian ruler Elonius and Eurythripe, Muse of the Mountain, has inherited his father's dream of uniting all Thracian tribes and factions under his banner. Yes, I will mispronounce many names and regions. Also, my spelling is horrible, so if you notice that when I'm typing out my saves, that's going to be a thing. Also, I have a very slow computer, so load times are a problem even on my SSD, which I found surprising.
Great Rhesus of the golden armor, the Achaeans' brazen hordes have gone to war with Troy. Paris, Priam's favored son, has stolen Helen from the Spartan king Menelaus.
Brother, your foolish passion has doomed us.
You rule the forests on the northern Aegean shore, away from the clash of Achaeans and Trojans. Helenos, son of Priam, presides over Galepsos. We have his favor, and through him, that of Troy. The northern tribes have sworn to unite Thrace in your stead and turn Helenos against you. Still, many Thracians to the west bear you respect. Earn their fealty with words, not force.
Chosen by gods both old and new, I will triumph.
The eastern tribes belittle you and sneer at your ambitions. Make them bend the knee, even if you must sever their legs. Reach sacred Olympus, and let the gods watch as you cut a swathe through Achaea in blood and fury. Prove yourself their equal, a godlike king, deliverer of Troy itself.
Thracian rituals. The Thracians have distinctive old cults which differ from the new common Olympian traditions of the Aegean world. As the Thracian lord, Rhesus is sacred obligation to safeguard these traditions by showing his devotion to the cults. He has to manage the devotion of his people to the Thracian cults to benefit both his armies and his settlements. The countless host. The Thracians' kins is divided into tribes which constantly fight against each other for plunder, and many warriors are willing to join a distant, successful Thracian ruler who can offer them food supplies and shady forests to settle. He can call upon these mighty host armies to ravage the lands of his enemies. And that's exactly what I intend to do. Also, I'm going to kind of follow along the fly through, even though I'm going to kind of do an unorthodox turn. I'm not going to go for the army that they kind of throw out in front of me. I'm going to choose a different path. I'm going to attack this unit here, draw out this garrison, and try and reduce this amount as much as possible. That way I have a much easier time assaulting the city and its walls. But other than that, I'm going to approach this much as the kind of flyover indicated. You've got this Trojan faction here, which I start off with military axis and then defensive ally with.
We could both profit from this.
And they are friendly with this faction here and this faction over here. Both these factions are not friendly with me because I'm at war with this group. And so I will quickly wipe this one out, and then I gotta choose how to deal with these other two. So these are the northern factions that are trying to do what I want to do and sway this group into turning on me and supporting them instead. But I'm going to get a military alliance with them, which is easy to do. I can do that at any time. And then basically declare war on this guy. And so therefore they will join me or, lose the relationship. So I believe they will always join me. And so I won't have negative points with them because I'm attacking these groups that they are currently friendly with, because their relationship will be deteriorating as well because they're at war with them. And so the fact that I'm at war with them won't count against me with their relationship. I've got two other Thracian communities here and up here. These are the ones, the western that they were saying on the flyby to win over through diplomacy, and I'll intend to do that. This one is kind of hard because they have the specialized harpies, and also, an extra food source, which is always good for the type of upkeep that I tend to, so I can field larger armies, and also gold, which is always needed, particularly with Thrace, because they have a lot of gold buildings, or buildings requiring gold to purchase, and for the rituals and a lot of religious things. So having more income is important, but let's see. As you can see, I start off with above normal relationships with them. I will see if, let me take a look at this one. So past war with the Leaf people. And do I see them yet? Yes, I do. And so, yeah, past war with the Leaf people. So I may have to do the same thing with these two. And, these four are the only ones I can confederate eventually. So essentially going to take the two that like me in the beginning, try and build a relationship with diplomacy. And then even though my forest defenders don't count against my administration, certainly my expedition army, when I get done with it, it's going to count. And so eventually I hope that through good relationships with these two, I'll eventually be able to confederate them. But the other two that start off not liking me, yeah, they're going down, because it would just take too much to try and have them swing around. So, start a campaign. We're gonna do a save at the start of the turn. Oops. And I'm gonna wait for my save circles to go away, because if I try and rush it, sometimes it'll crash. And I am going to. So I've got a really tough battle this turn, so I don't have time to wait for a prayer. And with in my Argos campaigns, I really enjoyed the Zeus Thunderbolt, and it's basically a good way to trigger a defensive battle or an offensive attack into a defensive engagement. So they'll come to me and to my kill zones and to my ambushes, that I lay in the field with people hiding in the forest, particularly with the giants that I have with their vanguard deployment. So I'm able to hit them from different sides and get at their range units fairly quickly to kind of nullify them. And so I much prefer defensive engagements instead of offensive, and that Zeus lightning pretty much triggers it most of the time. And if it doesn't, then I can almost kill the commander with actual skills that can use. So not the garrison commander, but if that's the only one available, then yeah, I'll lightning him. But also the deal evaluations are going to be important for, again, trying to get those factions on board with what I'm doing. So I'm going to do a hecatomb.
Prepare the sacrifices.
And I'm going to do a prayer. And use up all my gold. Or not. I'm going to hold off on the prayer. Because the recruitment, I think, is going to become an issue. But yeah, before we get in, and this is just going to be a introduction, turn 0 video. We have our countless host. Once you get 4,000 food and 10 devotion points, you can summon an army. Basically, it forces you to create a full stack. Obviously, I can't show that off now. But as you gain more forest regions, you can get more armies, and also they start getting bonuses with the more that you collect. Immune to deep siege attrition. That's interesting. Night battles while attacking. So I'm going to have to pay attention to which unit types get which bonuses. All right, so that's that. Also, you have your rituals. You have your divine rituals. Once you have a temple, you can activate this as a one-time activation, and then you'll get that bonus. There is a skill with my faction leader that allows me to increase the devotion I get by 50%. So I get 3, but it does not change the favor, which I thought it might. So that was a little bit disappointing, but still, having an income devotion. The problem with this is that it takes away your normal battle loot, which I've come to rely on, particularly when playing a horde faction, and keeping up with a constant food income to maintain my upkeep. So kind of have to be careful when I activate this and when I don't. Certainly devotion is needed, like I said, for 10 for pulling up the extra armies. But at a certain point, you can't afford the upkeep for the next 10, so you don't necessarily need to be running it just to get that extra income. Holy sacrifices. This is going to be a key one that the countless host armies do not have what is it called? Replenishment on them. So you either have to get it from the hero themselves through a skill, or to spend these resources in order to get them, 30% replenishment. Also, the first epic quest is for you to use this ability. You have these two that are locked, that you need to get a building for that. And, they are some interesting ones that I consider getting. But other than that, you have your two right here. Something about, there are several buildings, abilities, and whatnot that greatly reduce the wood costs of buildings. And so previously I've used bronze as a trading resource. And, I'm always wanting wood. I think this, again, is going to be a new kind of paradigm shift for me, in that I'm going to be trading away my wood for other resources that I'm looking, particularly stone, was a problem in my initial run through. So, spending wood is just another sink. And again, I have to be careful with this, because with the extra armies so easily available, my upkeep is going to be problematic on the food side. But also another, actually, I'm in the wrong section. I apologize. So this is where I'm talking about. This one gives you a devotion income for 4 turns, and has a 2 turn cooldown for the entire page. Now, let me see. There's a technique that if you ended a turn early, then you only have 1 turn cooldown. So I've been doing that. But this is a super expensive one. 5% resources. I don't have that stone income. I don't think this is worthwhile at all. Because I can't maintain that within the 3 turns. And this I was using a lot, particularly for early recruitments. I'm pretty sure this will not affect your expedition armies. And so that's a thing. And but like I said, my bronze income, and so over 4 turns, I'm able to get this 200 and then some. So, but my overall income of bronze is greatly reduced, and so I don't have as much to trade away as I had before, and also a little expensive on the food side as well. So, and again, to avoid this long cooldown, I'm going to limit myself to just 3 turns. And then here are the elite units. None of them have shields, which kind of bother me. And they all have bronze upkeeps, which also bother me. And this one's in a chariot with a whip ability, which bothers me. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to be getting these. I think just for flavor, I will. You are limited to 6 on each, or 4 for these. So we'll just have to see. And also requires a specialized building, that takes up a level 3 slot. So right here. So in the forest we'll get this. Yeah, these guys. So still don't know quite what my builds are going to be. I'm able to secure this province fairly quickly. This one is going to be a standalone because it's the other region in the province are owned by a future ally. And again, I'm not going over here. Maybe eventually my expedition army, once it gets freed up, is going to come over here and start taking over this kind of territory, possibly giving it away to my Thracian friends. There's also a region, I want to say here, that has a building that reduces the cooldowns on hecatombs, and I'm interested in grabbing that. And otherwise, my main army is going to march across here, secure this north. These two ally, so I may end up at war with them, but this is one region and these are the other regions of this province, and these have centaurs, which I really like, you know, having a regular cavalry unit. Also, the ranged cavalry units are very good for the expedition because they can avoid getting caught by the boss, essentially the leader. That's a gigantic creature. And once that creature dies, at least with the undead versions that I've been doing before in the Argos campaign, the battle ends once the main target goes down. So just concentrating fire on that is kind of interesting. And then, you know, the other units I round out in my expedition army are spear units with bonuses for against large items. So, not sure how far east, or east I'm going to go. But we'll kind of play it by ear. But we've got a wood here and a wood here. So, you know, we can eventually one day stage these multiple defensive units and maintain control of our territory from anyone invading from a place where my main armies are not. So that's kind of my zero turn introduction. I'm going to get into this real soon, so please subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I release the further editions of this campaign. And I hope you like it. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and it helps the algorithm and gets this out to more people. I'm going to try and do a better job of marketing this campaign than I did with the Spartan campaign. I'm kind of weary about all that because this channel really originally is and intended to be for Star Citizen. But with all the kind of hoopla with CA and content creators really being kind of nasty and negative about a for-profit company making decisions to stay in business and produce content that hopefully we will enjoy, I don't get it. And so a lot of the complaints that, you know, we haven't had a historical game in forever, this and that, I just disagree with. And so I kind of want to put my voice out there for the franchise and just kind of give my take on the real world of gaming and, you know, what it means and what it doesn't mean. I'm a consumer. I'm not a backseat developer or a game designer, you know, who can make decisions on, okay, we need to do this series next and have this kind of setup. You know, I leave that all for the people that it's their business to make those decisions. And whether I like it or not, you know, determines on whether I purchase that product or not. As I've said, I've skipped many a Total War title because they just didn't interest me or cost too much for what I thought I would get out of them. But anyway, on with the campaign. Please comment your thoughts on any of this. I'd like to hear from the community. Yes, it does help the algorithm, all of that, but I'm really interested in comments because I want to engage with other people about this game that I've been playing for a very long time. So, you know, I'd like to hear from you. So thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.